Hello, my dear learners. I am Siddharth Verma, and we are going to discuss gender, rights, and society. The learning objective for these modules are: first, to distinguish between sex and gender and how gender is socio-cultural construct. Second, to examine the role of social media in encouraging inclusivity. Third, to understand the historical absence and recognizing the associated stigma of LGBTQIA representation in Indian media and films. Fourth, the role of films, television shows, web series, and social media in raising awareness and acceptance of women and LGBTQIA issues. Fifth, and the last objective is to understand the specific difficulties faced by gender during and after a disaster. Now, let's talk about the introduction of the module. In sociological parlance, sex, patriarchy, transgender, and sexual division of labor are complex analytic representations that can underline the complexities of gender relations. The word sex is associated with the biological distinctions between men and women, while gender is related to the socio-cultural traits that society connects with each sex. Similarly, male and female are biological terms, and masculinity and femininity are socially produced gender characteristics thought to be natural to each sex. Maternity is a biological phenomena, yet the responsibilities and emotions considered acceptable for a mother and societal construct. The word media is frequently abbreviated for mass media. The plural form of the word medium is media. The media are those technological agents involved in creating, selecting, processing, and distributing messages to the public. As a logical significance, the mass media deals with the nation's and particularly the general public day-to-day concern. Its aid in the development of mass society and mass culture. Like every contemporary and evolved country, India's mass media consists of print and electronic media, including radio, television, film, the press, publication, and the advertising. Television, movies, advertisements, photography, animation, and painting are some examples of visual media. Natural or man-made disasters may cause severe damage to individuals and society. These occurrences can disproportionately affect vulnerable populations such as women, children, and older people. Therefore, it is vital to address the convergence of gender, rights, society, policies, and disaster management when designing successful policies and practices. Now, let's talk about the representation of gender in Hindi film industry. Gender representation in Indian media has long been a source of discussion. Historically, media outlets have reinforced established gender role and conventions by propagating stereotypes. Women are frequently represented as meek, obedient, and preoccupied with the domestic tasks. Conversely, men have been depicted as dominant, forceful, and preoccupied with occupations. These restricted portrayals have hampered the possibilities for diverse and complex gender representations. However, there have been considerable initiatives in recent years to question and subvert these assumptions. Numerous movies, television shows, and online series have featured strong female protagonists that defy conventional expectations and pursue their aspirations. These images liberated women and served as role models for future generations, encouraging them to defy gender stereotypes. Additionally, the emergence of social media platforms has allowed people to express themselves and dispute conventional images. Hashtags like hashtag women in media and hashtag gender equality have generated debate stressing the importance of diverse media representations. Influencers and content makers have been critical in spreading narratives and promoting inclusivity. Despite significant improvements, there are still numerous issues in the representation of females in Indian media. Industries underrepresentation of women in important decision-making positions remain a paramount concern. The absence of diversity at the highest level reinforces existing biases and restrict the possibility of an accurate and inclusive narrative. A significant number of women at all stages, including writers, directors, producers, and executive, is essential. Another issue is the persistence of harmful presumptions and objectification of women in commercials, item numbers, and specific film genres. Such depictions lead to the normalization of gender-biased abuse and harassments by reinforcing the perception that women exist primarily for the benefit of men. Media professionals and regulators must acknowledge the adverse effects associated with this content and work proactively to eliminate it. Furthermore, the LGBTQIA plus community's presence in Indian media is still restricted and frequently beset by stereotype or ignorance. While there have been notable exceptions, the depiction of people and their experiences lack reality and depth. Greater visibility and accurate representation of the LGBTQIA population can help to increase public acceptance and understanding. The media has a significant impact on shaping society's perception of gender. Advertisements, films, and television shows all play an essential part in shaping the reinforcing gender stereotype and expectations. Constant exposure to these media messages can influence individuals' self-perception, societal norms, and behavior. Furthermore, the representation of gender in the media might contribute to the marginalization and exclusion of specific groups. For example, the concentration on light complexions in beauty marketing encourages colorism and harm people with a darkened skin complexions. Similarly, the representation of male values can promote toxic masculinity by creating a hostile atmosphere for men who do not conform to these standards. However, the media can challenge and modify gender conventions. Media may motivate people to rethink established gender norms and fight for equality by depicting diverse and empowered personalities. While traditional preconceptions have been reinforced in the past, prominent example of media opposing these standards and offering various powerful images related to gender have emerged. The film Queen, Vikas Behl's highly praised film, followed Rani, a young woman who travels on a solo honeymoon trip when her wedding is called off. Rani's personality defies societal expectations, questions established gender roles, and understands her freedom and self-worth. The movie gained considerable appreciation for its depiction of a strong female lead who defies stereotype. Dangal. This biographical sports drama directed by Nitesh Tiwari portrays the story of Mahavir Singh Fogart and his daughters Geeta and Babita, who emerged as accomplished wrestlers. By displaying the female's determination, courage, and accomplishment in a traditionally male-dominated activity, the film confronts gender stereotypes. Dangal inspires women and challenges societal standards that restrict the possibilities available to girls. Shakti, अस्तित्व के एहसास की, strength, the feeling of existence. This serial, which began in 2016, revolves around the story of Soumya, a transgender woman, and the challenges she encounters due to societal prejudice. It raises questions about the gender identity, acceptance, and inclusivity. Another example is from Diya Aur Bati Hum, You Are the Lamp and I Am the Flame. Aired from 2011 to 2016, this serial revolved around the story of Sandhya, an ambitious woman who aspired to become an IPS officer. It questioned traditional gender roles by highlighting Sandhya's determination to pursue her career despite societal pressure and the challenges faced by a married woman in the conservative household. The show delves into female empowerment, education, and equality issues. Sacred Games, based on Vikram Chandra's novel, the crime thriller web series offer diverse female characters who challenges established gender stereotypes. Characters like Anjali Mathur, played by Radhika Apte, and Cuckoo, portrayed by Kubra Seth, fight stereotypes and express feminine freedom in a male dominant culture. The series delves into power, corruption, and gender dynamics. These instances show how the landscape of representation of gender in Indian media is shifting. They break beyond cliches and present complex portraits of men and women, highlighting their talents, goals, and complexity. These stories explore and alter gender roles, challenge societal standards, and promote equality. While there has been progress, it is crucial to emphasize the gender representation in Indian media is not universal and issues remain. Specific forms of media continue to portray stereotypical and regressive characters. However, the examples above show how media may positively affect gender attitudes and encourage societal change by providing diverse and inspiring tales. After this, let's talk about the representation of LGBTQIA+ in Hindi film industry. The representation of LGBTQIA+, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, intersex and asexual plus individuals in Indian media was largely absent or stigmatizing. Homosexuality was considered taboo, and queer characters were often portrayed as caricatures or used for comic relief. Such portrayals reinforced stereotype and contributed to the marginalization and invisibility of LGBTQIA+ community. However, in the recent times, there has been an essential change in the media landscape. Independent filmmakers, content creators, and streaming platforms have been at the forefront of showcasing more authentic and inclusive representation of LGBTQIA+ characters and experiences. Comic sequence or song starring cross-dressing male performers have a long history in commercial Hindi cinema. Mere Angane Mein from 1981 super hit film Lavaris, in which Amitabh Bachchan cross-dressed as a woman and was mistaken for a eunuch. Rishi Kapoor cross-dressed in 1975's Rafu Chakkar. In the Kuwara Baap, the late comedian Mahmood portrayed the eunuch in a dignified manner for the first time. Films like Tamanna, Shabnam Mausi, Daira, Darmiya, and Welcome to Sajjanpur attempts to take a thoughtful take on the third gender. And films like Aligarh, Ek Ladki Ko Dekha To Aisa Laga, and Shubh Mangal Zyada Savdhan have explored LGBTQIA themes with sensitivity and nuance, challenging societal norms and sparking conversations around acceptance. Badhai Do is a Bollywood movie that features a gay character performed by actor Rajkumar Rao. The film challenges stereotype by showing the gay personality as masculine rather than a stereotypical feminine character often associated with the LGBTQIA+ representation in Indian media. By presenting the gay character as a cop, the movie breaks away the traditional portrayal of LGBTQIA+ individuals in submissive or non-traditional roles. In the web series Four More Shots Please, Vijay Bani portrays a lesbian gym character named Umang. Umang's character highlights the diversity within the LGBTQIA+ community and challenges the assumptions that sexual orientation defines one's personality or interest. This portrayal helps challenge preconceived notion and promotes the inclusivity by showing the individuals from the LGBTQIA+ community can have diverse personalities, professionals, and identities. Television shows and web series have also played a vital role in increasing LGBTQIA+ visibility. The critically acclaimed web series Made in Heaven and Four More Shots Please have featured LGBTQIA+ characters as central figure in the narrative addressing their struggles, relationships, and aspirations. These shows have helped create a more nuanced understanding of queer identities and fostered empathy and acceptance. The rise of social media platforms have further democratized LGBTQIA plus representation, allowing individuals to share their stories and experiences directly with a broad audience. LGBTQIA plus content creators and influencers have used platforms like YouTube, Instagram, and Instagram Reels to challenge stereotype, educate, and advocate for LGBTQIA plus rights. Hashtags like hashtag LGBTQIA plus and hashtag love is love have trended, bringing attention to diverse queer experiences and fostering community. Despite these positive developments, challenges persist in the representation of LGBTQIA plus individuals in Indian media. Censorship and conservative societal attitudes pose significant obstacles to authentic and inclusive storytelling. The portrayal of LGBTQIA characters and themes is often met with resistance, and self-censorship is sometimes employed to avoid controversy or backlash. The lack of diversity within the entertainment industry itself is another hurdle. Representation behind the camera, including LGBTQIA writers, directors, producers, remain limited. The absence of diverse voices can hinder the creation of authentic narratives and perpetuate the stereotype or misrepresentations. Furthermore, while urban area and certain sections of society have shown greater acceptance of LGBTQIA individuals, there is still a long way to go in achieving nationwide understanding and inclusivity. Many LGBTQIA individuals continue to face discrimination, prejudice, and violence, and the media has a crucial role in challenging these attitudes and fostering social change. To overcome these challenges, media professionals and content creators must continue pushing boundaries and advocating for inclusive representation. Collaboration between LGBTQIA organization, activists, and the media industry can help ensure accurate and authentic portrayals. Additionally, media literacy initiatives can empower audience to encourage the LGBTQIA representation and challenge harmful stereotype critically. Now, we will talk about gender and disaster management. Natural or man-made disasters have significant impact on societies worldwide. Acknowledging that disasters affect different individuals and communities in distinct way is crucial. Women and the LGBTQIA community often face unique challenges and vulnerabilities during emergencies, necessitating inclusive and responsive approach to disaster management. Gender roles and expectations shape societal norms and institutions, impacting disaster management policies and practices. In many disaster-prone areas, women and girls face unique vulnerabilities, including increased risk of sexual violence, limited access to healthcare, and limited economic opportunities. In addition, women are more likely to be responsible for caring for infants and elderly relatives, which can complicate evacuation and relocation. The causes for the different effect on women can be classified into three primarily classifications. First, the influence of the traditional division of labor. Second, the impact of a patriarchal society. Third, and the result of gender socialization, vulnerabilities, and their consequences required a thorough awareness of gender elements. Women are frequently the victims of gender labor division. They have limited access to resources and action. Men are less likely to take up the role of primary caretaker for youngsters and older adults in the home. Women are additionally more exposed to disasters due to patriarchal practices and expectations that have been socially established. Patriarchal constructs are manifested through propagating the image of women as weak and physically incapable. Such practices undermine female empowerment and frequently come at the cost of women. Women were prohibited from entering the sea due to patriarchal norms and taboos in the fishing community. For many Women being unable to enter the sea means having no idea how to swim. This limitation harmed the women who stayed on the beach waiting for their husbands and those who remained inland taking care of their wifely responsibilities. Many people were unaware of how to swim and could not save themselves as the tsunami wave smashed the coastline in the Indian state of Tamil Nadu in 2004. Gender socialization is process by which men and female develop views and ideas about being a man or a woman. This approach frequently generates and reinforces existing gender stereotypes in different communities. Females learn to be ladylike, whereas males learn what is meant to be manly. These gender socialization and patriarchal taboos have resulted in a rigid division of labor and gender stereotypes in fishing communities. Women in India fishing communities were socialized not to climb trees. Climbing trees by women was considered acting like a boy. Many women could not save their life by climbing high above the earth when the tsunami wave crashed into the beach. They needed to gain the necessary experiences and expertise. Furthermore, disaster can exacerbate existing gender disparities due to discriminatory culture and social norms. Access to relief and recuperation resources may be more difficult for women. In addition, gender-based violence can increase during and after natural disasters due to disrupting social norms and institutions, creating an environment conducive to such violence. Conversely, men may face distinct challenges during disasters. Traditional gender roles often expect men to engage in rescue and relief efforts, placing them at higher risk of physical injury and psychological traumas. Men's mental health concern may be overlooked due to societal expectations of stoicism and the prioritization of immediate physical needs. Also, LGBTQIA+ individuals may face challenges assessing safe and inclusive shelter during disasters. Existing emergency shelters may not be equipped to address the specific needs of and concerns of LGBTQIA+ individuals, resulting in feelings of isolation, discrimination, and harassment. Emergencies can increase the risk of bias, violence, and harassment against LGBTQIA+ individuals. Prejudice and homophobia may be reinforced in high-stress environments, so addressing and preventing such incidents during disaster responses is essential. There is a growing recognition of the importance of showcasing women as active agents of change during disasters. Media coverage can emphasize the leaders, resilience, and innovative solutions provided by women in disaster-affected communities. By amplifying their stories, the media can challenge gender stereotypes and encourage praising efforts. For example, the coverage of the devastating floods in Chennai in 2015 showcased the inspiring stories of women who organized relief camps and provided medical assistance. These stories emphasize the strength and resourcefulness of women, breaking the narrative of livelihood. During the devastating fire at Mumbai's Taj Mahal Palace Hotel in 2008, Harshini Kanekar became the first woman firefighter in the city's history to be promoted to a leading firefighter. She led the firefighting operations fearlessly, tackling the blaze and rescuing numerous trapped guests. Harshini's bravery and determination encouraged other women to consider careers in traditionally male-dominated specialization. Gauri Sawant, a transgender activist, gained importance during the Mumbai floods in 2005. She opened her home to shelter stranded individuals and worked tirelessly to provide relief supplies to affected communities. Gauri's compassionate efforts challenged societal prejudices and brought attention to the right and need of marginalized communities, particularly transgender individuals during the disasters. The approach to healthcare delivery inspired others to prioritize community health and well-being during disasters. These remarkable women have showcased resilience, compassion, and innovating thinking during challenging times. Their actions have inspired other challenged societal norms and highlighted the importance of women's leadership in disaster management and community recovery efforts. As a result, disaster management policies and practices must be customized to meet the specific needs and risks. This involves ensuring that evacuation and relocation plans consider women's condition and caregiving obligations, providing access to healthcare and reproductive services, and putting measures in place to avoid responding to gender-based violence. The horrors experienced by women in natural disaster affected nations are not the result of catastrophic events. It is the result of social pressure and gender inequalities that have increased female rapes and domestic violences. During uncontrolled rescue operations and while residing in temporary shelters, women and girls have been subjected to rape, gang rape, molestation, and physical violence. Society plays a critical role in disaster management. Community participation and engagement are essential for effective disaster management as communities can provide valuable local knowledge and resources. However, social and cultural norms can also create barriers to effective disaster management. For example, traditional gender roles and cultural norms may limit the participation of women in disaster management efforts. Therefore, disaster management policies and practices must be designed to engage and empower communities, including women and other marginalized groups. It includes involving communities in disaster planning and response efforts, providing access to training and resources, and promoting community led disaster management initiatives. Embracing an inclusive approach ensure that disaster responses are equitable, responsive, and protective of all individuals, irrespective of their sexual orientation or gender identity. With this, let's come to the conclusion part of the module. Gender comprises the societal aspect associated with each sex, whereas sex refers to biological distinctions. Gender roles and expectations are socially formed and can limit people's potential while reinforcing old norms. Gender representation in Indian media has been criticized for its historical reinforcement of stereotype and lacking of variety in storytelling. However, significant efforts have been made to counter these stereotypes and promote power depiction of women and various gender identities. Films, television shows, online series, and social media platforms have all played essential role in promoting diversity, sparking debates, and creating change. Despite improvements, issues exist in the representation of women in Indian media. The underrepresentation of women in key decision-making role and the continuing harmful stereotype is significant concerns. In addition, the LGBTQIA+ group has little or frequently stigmatizing representation. Additional barriers include censorship, conservative belief, and lack of diversity within the sector. However, positive advancement in LGBTQIA+ representation have occurred with independent filmmakers, content creators, and streaming platforms leading. Films, television shows, and social media platforms have enabled honest storytelling, increased visibility, and adoptive empathy and acceptance. When it comes to disaster management, gender significantly impact vulnerability and impact. Traditional gender roles, patriarchal society, and gender socialization lead to divergent outcome for all genders during disasters. Women and LGBTQIA+ individuals often face unique challenges and vulnerabilities, requiring inclusive and responsive approach to disaster management. Disaster management policies and practices must take into account the special need of vulnerabilities of women, LGBTQI people, and other marginalized groups. It includes tackling healthcare access, reproductive services, and gender-based violence prevention. Community engagement and empowerment are critical for effective disaster management. as it incorporating diverse group in disaster preparedness and response operations. Overall gender representation in Indian media and the inclusion of varied viewpoints in disaster management are continuing processes that demand constant effort on the part of media professionals, content providers, policymakers, and society as a whole. We may work towards a more equitable and just society by challenging stereotypes, promoting inclusivity, and inspiring various voices. And with this, we came to the end of our module. I hope you have enjoyed and learned something new about gender, rights, and society. Thank you.